we'll do one. Zoom 12. Hi, and welcome to Seattle's #1 comic book podcast. Wait a second. Hi, welcome to Seattle's #1 comic book podcast. Take 2. The podcast that is dedicated to the first issue of your next favorite comic. I'm all by myself tonight. I am solo Larry. James had family obligations to go had family obligations. I was on vacation last week, and I kept thinking, well, we could do the show, we could let it slide for another week, and I just can't do that. I want to talk about some comics that I read, and James and I are definitely going to dive into Orc-Stain next week. So James will be back next week, and we'll be talking about Orc-Stain from James Stokoe. And so tonight I am by myself, and I was just going to vamp on a few comics that I read while I was on vacation, so I was gonna have some fun with it. I thought, I've been reading a lot of comics, and then what kind of what do I like to do when I read comics? I like, I'm in a certain kind of mood. You're in a certain kind of mood. Maybe you want to go see an action adventure. Maybe you want to go see a Western. Maybe it's just me. Action, adventure, and Western. But you might be different. And I also was thinking, while we were on vacation, just how many wonderful meals my wife and I would have. And I was thinking, I consume comics like I consume meals. I really do. I often think about it now. I've started even thinking about it. And so I thought I would have some fun with this tonight. And put together a show like as if it were a meal. So I've put together some courses of a meal with some of the comics that I've read recently. Some of them are, most of them are recent and decent, new to me, and some are old, but all of them are digital. Well, one of them's not digital, so I guess there's calories there. Har, har, har. So no calories in the digital, though. And so I was thinking, like a meal. Comics as a meal. All right, so if you are like me, you love it when you sit down, you get that table, and the waitstaff asks you, would you like to start with a drink? And of course, I always say, yes, I'll have a Manhattan. Bartender, I'll have a Manhattan, please. But tonight, I was thinking about this comic, and I was thinking, there's nothing smooth about this comic. There's nothing sweet about this comic. It is not a Manhattan. This comic that I would consider the drink, the cocktail of my meal, is 4 shots of Bullet Rye. No, 4 shots of Old Granddad Lick Bourbon served in a dirty glass with a rusted razor blade in it. The book is written by Charles Sanford Forsman. It's issue number 4 of a book that I talked a little bit about, and I might have gone into a little bit. I talked about this book maybe 3 or 4 months ago on Recent and Decent. The book is called Slasher, and the premise, I'll get to the premise in a second. This is, like I said, written by Charles Sanford Forsman, written and drawn by Charles Sanford Forsman. It's 28 pages. It cost me $1.99 on the Comixology app, and it is published by Floating World Comics. I never heard of Floating World Comics or Charles Sanford Forsman before, but I am a mega fan of this book. Now, if you remember, and this is exactly why I said it is raunchy. It is an all-age. It is not an all-age book. It is a NC-17 book. It is adult in every nature, in every word of in every meaning of the word. Very, very adult. This is the main characters are Christine and Joshua, and Christine and Joshua have a very strange love affair. They've met on a website called Pornhub, and Joshua is a very sickly looking, just a very sickly looking young person, and he is a cutter. Like, he does that gross, like he self-mutilates himself. And Christine is into that. And this is and they have a back and forth, but Christine has this boring humdrum life of a computer operator type programmer of some sort. But she fantasizes and acts on the fantasies of murdering people. She and Joshua have a chance to meet. They finally, in this issue 4, have come together. And there are things that have kept them apart, namely Joshua's mother, who is using Joshua's sickliness to capitalize on disability service checks or something. It is a nasty, nasty themed book. But all does not end well in the young couple finding true love and meeting. I'll just leave it at that. The book is called Slasher, and it is definitely a burn. The art is very, very rough. The art is almost as rough and raunchy as the theme of the book. It has this watercolor lines that just go right over people's faces. Sometimes the faces are unrecognizable, and then it also and it's very rudimentary. Somebody is drawing this with their toes. I mean, it is just not very pretty to look at. It like I said, it's just a real rough drawing. It almost borderlines, and I don't want this to be a turnoff, into Beavis and Butthead with the bulbous heads and kind of skinny necks. But it gets back on track with the story. The artwork's here, and I can't explain why it works, but this book is not for everyone. I understand, and it's rough. It's a rough book, but if murdering programmer, I don't know. I don't even have a place to put this in. It's crime genre. It's raw. So check it out. So continuing our yummy meal together, the next course. How about some salad? Now, this was a little bit of a stretch for me to call this a light and airy salad, but this is definitely got some roughage to it. This one is written by Fabian Nuri with art by one name artist Bruno, published by European Comics. It's Tyler Cross. Now, Tyler Cross is a badass. Very rough-age salad. Get it? So, Tyler Cross, so far, to date, I have 6 of these books. They are done in a style that I absolutely love. A lot of times I'll get bogged down with missing issues because some of these, like ongoing, like you can get 12 issues and miss an issue here or there. But with these, so far anyway, Tyler Cross books are 3-issue arcs. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And to date, I have 6 of these issues. I've reread them twice now because they're so good. Now, Tyler Cross is kind of this tough guy. How do I describe him? He's kind of very Parker-ish. And if you recall, James and I did the show. We did Parker. Parker novels by Richard Stark and Darwin Cook put them into graphic novel form, and they're just great. They're great, but and Tyler Cross books are great too. So he is very much like Parker, but where Parker has a little, he's a badass too, but he has a little less heart than Tyler Cross does. Tyler Cross isn't a cold-hearted bastard. Tyler Cross has a cold heart, but he also has love for his fellow man. And in this, in the first arc called Black Rock, Tyler Cross, who is kind of a thief, he's an anti-hero. Definitely an anti-hero. He has come across the opportunity to make some money carrying black tar heroin, right? And double cross. Tyler Cross has to go to ground, puts it into. Well, I don't want to give too much away. Heist stuff, reminiscent of like really cool old Paul Newman style movies or something, just like this anti-hero who you root for. And so that's the first arc. That one was called Black Rock. Tyler Cross gets stuck in a small town called Black Rock. I'll let you pick those issues up and enjoy them. They're great. And then the next one is called Angola. Now, Tyler Cross, just like the name, he's stuck in a work prison, and these are my genres. He is, he's made friends or he's made enemies, and he's made friends inside of this work prison, and he makes an escape, and it's great. It is just like great 1960s style cinematography. The art is just really stark, and the colors are really vibrant. The black shading is just to die for. It's just dark, good stuff. I hope you enjoyed your salad. All right, on to the main course. Meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. I love characters. I love superhero characters. And when you put 2 of my favorite characters in the same book, I'm in heaven. So for the entree, meat and potatoes, Batman and Wildcat. Now, unless you've been living on an island since 1936, you know who Batman is. But a lot of people don't know who Wildcat is. Now, Wildcat is one of my favorites. The alter ego of retired heavyweight champ Ted Grant is Wildcat. Now, Wildcat's costume is awesome. And I don't have the book in front of me. I left the book in I don't know where I left it, but I can't find it. So this is one